Show. And there we go. We are live. Max, you want to do the deed? Kick us in?
Let's do it.
Way it got darker
Absolutely.
for Peter. I can't see Peter.
Whoa. Yeah, it did get dark in my room. Hold on. Maybe I need to turn the light on.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see him. hold on. We'll get to it in a second. Intro in a second. Yeah.
Hey, it wouldn't be the podcast if we didn't start like this. You know?
That's right. Okay, there we go. Now I can see him. All right, Max, do your thing.
All right. What's up, everybody? We are calling all nerds, and you answered the call, the beacon in the sky, if you will. We are your friendly neighborhood hosts that talk about everything within the entertainment zeitgeist, and we are so excited to talk about some amazing stuff tonight. Primarily, the announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2, which is going to be our main topic of discussion. We have quite a bit to talk about, both positive and negative. And yeah, I'm very excited to jump into it with you guys ever since we watched it yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to describe this. This is definitely the all things Switch 2 plus Nintendo and other Switch things kind of podcast. As Max said, yesterday was April 2nd, and Nintendo had a Switch 2 Direct, which I feel like was a first. I don't think the Switch was around when they were doing Directs. I feel like Directs were like relatively new. So this was like the first like Switch Direct, right? So that was
cool. I mean, like they came up with the aspect of Directs after the Switch was already out.
Okay.
So I honestly can't even remember how they announced the Nintendo Switch. I almost wonder if it was at E3.
There was rumors like really early on. I know that.
Yeah.
But I got a whole sheet of like things to talk about. I figured to try to help in the interest of, I know we just have a lot to talk about. So I figured maybe try to do our best at splitting up into sections. So I got one kind of focusing on specs of the console, maybe like prices of things, both game related and console, kind of as like a next section. And then lastly, game announcements. Now, with the game announcements, for those who are listening, there's new games, there's Switch Enhanced 2 versions of games, there are Switch 2 free update versions of games, and then older games coming to Switch 2. So there's like 4 little subcategories to that. But before we get all the way down to there, we'll talk about the Switch 2 specs. I'm just going to kind of read a quick spec sheet, and then I'll let you guys kind of chime in on what your thoughts are.
For sure.
So I have all these links to. I don't know how YouTube's going to work with descriptions, but if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple or Amazon, I'm just going to take the podcast notes and just dump them in there. So the handheld itself is a 1080p LCD screen. There are up to 4K scaling, 120 hertz when you're in the dock mode. The 120 hertz does also work for 1080p and 1440p. Obviously, it's depending on the game. Magnetic Joy-Cons. There is a cooling fan on the dock to help with performance, they say. There's a new C button. They have a Discord-like feature that's going to now be on the Switch that kind of involves that C button. It kind of looks like butt cheeks, but that's fine. 256 gigabyte storage is now the onboard storage, still expandable through micro SD express cards. And then obviously assume games are going to be bigger, so you're probably going to go through that 256 storage very quickly. You'll probably want to get an express card. There is HDR support. It is a 7.9 inch display screen, which is about 50% more than the normal one. There is finally 2 USB-C ports, one up top and one down below, which is great. One for docking, both for charging. And then according to Nintendo's website, you get approximately 2 to 6.5 hours of battery life. For what I have seen, there was a Treehouse event today on April 3rd in New York for hands-on experience. There is most creators that I've watched so far do videos are letting you know, don't think this is going to have battery life the same as your original Switches. It's going to be worse. Just kind of how it is. Game sharing. I put this in the specs list. We'll probably talk a little bit more about this. Game sharing is a really neat feature that's kind of into it. Maybe it's kind of because of why they're pricing their games the way they are. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. We still do not have any exposure as to what the RAM is in the Switch. Speculations around 12 gigabytes of RAM. And then the CPU and the GPU is just said to be a custom NVIDIA. Not sure why Nintendo likes to hide their RAM and CPU and GPU, but they do. Now, and then last thing I'll say before we all just like chime in. I have a video also linked down in these descriptions from Austin Evans, who was at the event today or maybe yesterday, whenever it was, in New York. And he did say, from a performance and a spec use, it feels that the Switch 2, one, is a lot better than the current Switch as far as performance-wise. He compared it that it definitely performs better docked than a Steam Deck performs. And even in handheld mode, he said it slightly still feels as if it performs a little bit better than a Steam Deck in handheld mode. So I would say that maybe it's like comparable, but we will get all into that kind of more. So I don't know. Maybe like of these specs, kind of like what were the things you guys got most excited about? Like when you watched this, like what maybe surprised you, or what were you just like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting that. Like 4K, I wasn't expecting that, right? That was kind of crazy to me. Thought it was cool. Very excited. I was just like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I was not expecting the frame rate. The fact that even in handheld, they're saying that that games can go up. That mean I do not expect most games to ever go up to 120 frames per second, but the fact that it can handle that in handheld mode is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It really shows to me that they've really been working hard with NVIDIA and their tech team and for the specs to really make this into like the best possible handheld on the market for when it comes out. And yeah, I would say that was the biggest surprise for me. To your point, Tyler, was the 4K, the fact that it can go up to 2060 or 2160 docked. And that even in handheld, I think the highest it can go is 1080p, but still you get that 120 frames per second. I also heard today that there is DLSS and ray tracing, which
interesting,
which is pretty impressive. Overall, I am very impressed by the machine. I think it's going to be really cool to see in action.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say one nitpick. It's really not a big deal. I wish it was an OLED screen, but I was not
100%.
expecting it to be.
100%.
Yeah, but
100%.
I know we'll probably get an OLED version in
for
a
sure.
few years.
Yeah, I think when we talk price, I definitely have a few things to say about OLED when it comes to our price section. But
what does the OLED do? Is that like what makes it brighter?
Yeah, like I mean, it looks, and that's the thing why I'm not too concerned about it. Like, as someone who owns OLED TVs, like I'll have that OLED experience while it's docked. So it's like it's really not that big of a deal for me. But like,
like blacks look a lot more like deep and rich stuff like that. Usually OLED is nice. Like I have it on my Steam Deck, and I do really enjoy it. It's a very crisp, clean kind of look.
Didn't they add it to like a Nintendo Switch Pro?
They made a Switch OLED.
They made a Switch OLED. Yeah.
That's weird that they wouldn't have it.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. Peter, what? Also, I forgot to say, there's a mouse support. There is mouse support in the Joy-Cons. It's actually pretty cool. Apparently, the Switch does a very good job. Again, from this video, if you haven't watched it, it is actually pretty good. The Switch does a really good job at like when you're down like this, it knows like you're in mouse mode, and when you pick it up, like the shift they said was pretty smooth on like knowing, hey, I'm in like a Joy-Con mode and like, oh, I'm in mouse mode. So that's obviously like a really huge, big new feature, plus like new rumble and all that kind of jazz. So I forgot to say that. But yeah, Peter, what were kind of like some specs that were kind of like blowing your mind or like catching you off guard?
I mean, I was gonna say that the mouse feature, because when I was watching the video, I was just wondering, what is Nintendo gonna do? Because they always do something like kind of weird or kind of new. They're trying to like push the boundary.
There's always
there's always a gimmick. I want to see something like the Wii when they first announced the Wii, and we're like, what?
We would like to play
motion controls. And the mouse thing was pretty weird.
Yeah.
That seemed like their gimmick. I was like, "What? Who asked for this?"
Yeah.
But it was kinda cool. I mean, but I'm also thinking, when am I gonna I guess I'm wondering if I'm sitting down and I don't really have a table in front of me when I'm gaming, like, will that turn me off to some of the games? But it's
Yeah.
still cool. Like, I wanna try it out on PC gaming because it said you could just, like, I'm pretty sure you can just use it as a regular mouse, even if it's not Nintendo Switch
Oh, really?
games. I think if I was
Like you're talking about like
watching the
connected to
video,
your computer?
right,
That sounds
and
brutal.
I could be wrong
Yeah.
about that,
I
but,
would not want to use it as a PC.
right, right. I was
Yeah.
imagining that, and I think my hand would
The
be, like,
carpal
so,
tunnel.
yeah, tight
Yeah.
on it, so I don't know how it would feel even
Yeah.
when you're gaming, but that was surprising,
Mm.
and the other thing was the camera and the Discord feature,
Oh my
which
gosh. Yeah.
they have needed that. I mean, they've needed, like, a connect to play with friends feature for such a
Mm.
long time. I did not see them putting a whole button to do that, and they really made it like an important feature during that showcase to show how you can like mute yourself. They even showed the blender in the background
Yeah.
going
Oh, for the
to
audio.
showcase that like the audio is going to be um what is it, soundproof or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be
And
able to
Like
pick up
noise removal.
voices. Yeah,
and
it's like noise canceling.
I am curious about that just to see how it how people would use that in like further with their family, like if people are like playing it with family members, and how much are people actually going to use that feature.
Yeah.
I even saw like they had the camera feature was incorporated in the games to showcase your face like a little bubble, um, and that part kind of, it creeps me out, but at the same time, it seems like it could be cool if you're like with people that you know. But if you're with people that you don't know, I'm kind of wondering like if Nintendo's taking a step into the foray of like connecting to random people and suddenly like showing everyone's face if they connect to that feature.
Yeah, anything that pertains to like a camera, I usually stay away from. So like I know from at least for my house, we probably will not invest in a Nintendo camera
100%.
or
100%.
um the chat stuff would be cool, like if like we were playing together or like, Hudson and Jack were playing with us and got to play with like you and Julie and Ty on Mario Kart and we could all talk together as we raced, like even
Yeah.
from our houses. I like that. Like that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Um yeah, I don't know. I don't see a lot of value add for me personally
It's
Yeah.
a
for all that stuff.
it's
It
such a
it seems
bold move
very
to bring
yeah.
back the camera since like the Kinect. I think
That's
was like the
exactly what I
last
thought.
camera I
I was
think
getting
of.
like a lot of Connect vibes and I was like even when they were showing the Mario Party connection with like the camera, I was like, this looks very like this may be fun to do once and then like I would never do it again kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I don't know.
the thing that I thought was very interesting and I'm curious, like for me, I have zero interest in that thing. Like you said, Max,
Mhm.
maybe there'd be some cool times if like, your boys wanted to like play with Julie and I and that could be like kind of fun, but like if I am playing with like my friends, I will hop on Discord and either just
Right.
play my Switch in my hand or have it docked and just be talking to my friends on Discord.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
what I also thought was hilarious was just how trash quality the screen share was. There's like a whole section of them showing how in Discord, which we're doing it now. We have our webcams in Discord. We're using Discord.
Yep.
And you can screen share and Discord on their like free version. You can stream 720p at 30 frames. I don't even know. It looked like some of their footage was like 20 or less
It's
frames.
frames.
It was
Yeah.
so bad, like
Yeah, it
laughable
really
bad.
was.
And I kind of
Yeah.
started thinking like, oh, does that mean Nintendo's going to start getting into like the industry of saying like, hey, if you want better streaming quality, pay us extra. Like there's Discord Nitro where you can pay for like a monthly
Mm.
fee or like a yearly thing and it allows you to stream 1080p at 60 frames, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I wonder if they would like try to touch that market. I mean, I would think not. I also can't say I fully understand the use case of wanting to like stream your game, because I feel like the best thing about that chat version is like you playing the same game, and like I don't need to see your game if we're playing it together. I can just see you in the game. And then they were like, "Oh, well, you know, you could be playing different games." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be hanging out with my friends on my Switch if we're playing different game." Like, I don't know. It's to me, it seems like a niche thing, but it's probably not. Like, who knows? Maybe there's a lot popular in places outside of my little area. So
who knows? It definitely feels like, for the first time, it feels like in a long time, this kind of jump in console for Nintendo seems like the most like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like very small changes, like between like the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. Like I think they, at least in my perception, the Switch was such a success, like the most success they've ever had. And it, for me, it was like, okay, they don't want to rock the boat too much for what they know is popular and what is working. They really kind of pioneered kind of this resurgence in handheld gameplay. So how do we do that in the best way possible?
Yeah.
And I think that their answer was, okay, we make the best handheld that's possible to own on the market right now for like half the price of other handhelds. But we still have to be Nintendo and add random features. So let's throw Discord in there. Let's throw the camera feature. Let's throw the mouse feature. And that's like as far as they decided to go this time around, it seemed like.
So when you say, it's interesting how you mentioned like small changes. So when you think of that, do you think of like new features, like how Peter was like, oh, like the mouse thing was like a whole new like gimmick? Like, is that what you kind of mean? Because like obviously like the screen size is bigger, right? There's more storage, high resolution. Like, is it because like that like resolution already exists in a Switch? They just made it better, and like screen sizes are there. They just made it bigger. Like, to you, those are just kind of like copying, pasting, getting a little bit bigger. There's not much like new to it.
Yeah, I would say so. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's a negative thing by any means. I definitely am excited for it. I just think it's the first time that Nintendo has ever like done an upgrade in their system to kind of match the tone of like PlayStation and Xbox. Whereas like Nintendo has always kind of been that pioneer of new ideas previously, like, and not always to their benefit, right? I mean, like,
wasn't the Wii U like the worst thing?
Oh yeah, the Wii U was a disaster for them. Like it was
the iPad Wii.
Yeah, like I mean, I owned the Wii U, and like that thing. I mean, I loved the games on it, but like no one owned a Wii U. Like almost no one bought it. Like it was just, it was like holding a play school pad in your hand and like playing games on it. But yeah, I think that they're like just constantly trying to innovate the experience of gaming, which I like. But I think this time around, I think they've really just kind of landed on their gold mine of just like, no, this is what it is, and this is what it should be. And so we'll just iterate on it and make it better and make it the best possible handheld out there, which, you know, I think that they may, well, we'll see if they have succeeded in that. But this is the first time they've ever really kind of focused on specs so hard. Like when I think back to even the Switch or the Wii U, they never really talked about frames per second or the resolution of the console. It was always just about, here's what the console does. And it's really cool, isn't it? And like, this is their first time kind of coming to the plate, kind of playing with the same kind of jargon as the rest of the video game community has gotten used to, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I do think they're making changes in the right area, like the right small changes, like the Joy-Cons are longer now, which is great. I have average to large size hands, and I hate holding my Switch. I have not held a regular Joy-Con in a very long time. I just have aftermarket ones that are like bigger because it just is what I need to grip it. I like the, you know, it's going to be longer now. The joysticks, there is some decent claims out there that they're finally going to be using like Hall effect Joy-Con or joysticks, which are like the really nice style. Should not have, you know, what was it, Joy-Con drift. That should be like pretty minimal because of these new like Joy-Con or joysticks that they're putting on there. I love that the little SLSR buttons are like
Are
bigger
wider.
now. That's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
That's great.
One thing I gotta ask you guys: how often do you play in like kickstand mode on your Switch?
Never.
I don't think I've ever done it in my life.
I think
Ever.
one of the greatest things is how much they talk about this is so cool. The new kickstand, you can put it at any angle. If you want to play it completely horizontal, you can. Why would
can.
you? Who knows? But you could do it anyways. And I'm like,
I think they
when will
yeah.
I kick that thing out?
I think they showed it off like that to like go alongside the mouse functionality of like, oh, just take your Switch to the table, put out
Okay.
the kickstand, and like
Oh,
play
yeah.
it
Okay.
in that mouse mode.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
a
that's my
really
thought.
good point.
I don't know.
Maybe I feel like if there's any time that I would use it, I probably would use it for that. Because if I'm
Yeah.
docked, I mean, I might
There's
do
no-
mouse dock. I don't know, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't think about
I'm
that.
gonna really have to see how they incorporate that feature into games because I know how those features usually go, and if it's just for some mini games in Mario Party, that's like the only game
Well,
that I saw them
Metroid.
showcase.
Metroid has mouse
Honestly,
support.
yeah,
Civ,
the few
Huh.
Civ 7
Yeah.
is going to have
Oh, I
mouse
didn't.
support.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the
that's
mouse
pretty
support for
cool.
Metroid actually looked pretty clean.
Yeah.
Like at least
Okay.
from the footage they showed, I was like, okay, that looks pretty slick. I was like, because if it feels as good as it looked in that kind of few seconds of gameplay they showed of using the mouse for Metroid, I would play Metroid that way because it is that first person kind of have to like look around and shoot.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I can see how the move to add a mouse feature like that could be a big decision for them to try to make sure that they can add more competitive games
Yeah.
to and actually be a contender, like a console contender, to have cross-platform competitors with PC players.
Yeah.
And that way they can like drive more sales for some of those PC gamers
Essentially.
that want to like continue playing hardcore CS:GO and stuff like that on the go.
Yeah, I think the only concern is hand fatigue, like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I don't think longevity wise, having that little Joy-Con and like mount, I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see how long of sessions there is. I'll try to stand up for the audio listeners. This won't make sense, but I watched a video. There is the wheelchair game. It's like Rocket League, but you're in a
yeah.
wheelchair playing basketball. So you have the Joy-Cons in mouse mode, and imagine they're your hands on like the wheelchair. So if you go like this, it moves the right wheel. If you go like this, it moves the left wheel, and then you have to like click or do something. So you're doing like this motion, or you're going like this, or you're going like that on like to be like you're in a wheelchair. So that was like one of the games that they talked about, and the person who was reviewing it was like, "Yeah, I got fatigued in like 5 minutes because it was just like an awkward kind of like when you're sitting down. I think also maybe just where he was at this treehouse event, like his shoulders were kind of tense, and he's like a bunch of motion there, motion like this, and then double motion. He was just like, yeah, my shoulders got fatigued in like 5 minutes because it was like kind of intense. But now that game obviously is very designed for like I think a
More
specific
motion.
Yeah, whereas maybe with Metroid, if it's kind of like, hey, the mouse is just in your right hand, this is like your
Just move
movement in
your
your
right.
left. Yeah, maybe it won't be as fatiguing, but
You said
yeah.
the controller will easily recognize, like if you just pick it up and start like playing it a different way, it'll switch to that.
That is
That's
what
they did.
Yeah, that is what they're claiming. Now, it could be game developer specific. The one at the Treehouse event right now is Civ 7. And it was said that like it was a smooth experience. Like if you're kind of clicking around with a mouse and then you pick up the Joy-Con and like maybe move something around, like it was a very seamless thing. But like I'm assuming Civ 7 is one of the 3 major games on like a Switch 2 early launch to like promote mouse. Like it's gonna be Metroid. It's gonna be this. I forgot what the name is called. I have it written down. It's gonna be Metroid. It's gonna be whatever the
grab and go or whatever.
Dragon Drive.
Not grab and go.
And then Civ. So those are, I'm assuming, are gonna be like the first 3 games of like, hey, mouse is good. So maybe like the Civ 7 devs like put a lot of work to make sure it's seamless. But yeah, I'm not sure, because I see it as like the PS5 controller. Sony exclusive people know how to really utilize the controller and like the rumble and the sound and audio. Whereas like maybe first parties don't really get into it all that much. That's my guess. But what were you gonna say, Peter? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's a really good point, because like I'm thinking of God of War. I think utilized the rumble features really well, and I guess the good thing is that Nintendo has a lot of first party games that like they try to really build with what the console is capable of.
Yeah, like if anything's going to play well at 120 frames, it's going to be like a Mario game. It's going to be a Kirby game, which probably aren't the most demanding, and you could probably easily get 120 frames out of like a Mario game. You might just not see 120. Well, you're not going to see 120 frames for like Cyberpunk. It'll probably get 40, 50, somewhere around there. If I had to guess 1080p, so.
Yeah, I think I saw an interview earlier today where someone did play Cyberpunk on the Switch too.
Yeah.
And they said the highest frame rate they could get on it was 40. But the game did look good.
Yeah.
Like, but like it sacrificed, frame rate for fidelity, which, is important. So
I was gonna ask you, Tyler, for the camera, I am kind of seeing that, and I didn't think about this, but streamers and content creators can now like more easily stream from the Nintendo Switch. And I know before you had to kind of like use some kind of device to hook it up. Do you think it would make it any easier to actually stream now?
It'll be more than likely maybe like the same as what it would be to stream off your PlayStation. I think for a big time content creator, you're not going to care. You're just going to dock that bad boy and attach it to like your Elgato stream thing and then just call it a day. I don't think it makes it easier by no means, because I don't know if you can just stream off the Switch itself. Like you still need to like route your Switch footage to like OBS or something, and it's like at that point like you're just going to kind of go back to the same setup that you have before. So I mean, maybe for people who don't have a webcam, I'd give them a webcam, but you still have to buy it. So it's like you're probably more than likely better off just to buy like a $50 Logitech anyways. So no, I personally don't think it's going to make that big of a difference for like streamers. To me, it sounds like it's more towards like kids, which I feel is a little concerning. Like my wife talked about this where she was like, oh, I don't like things that kind of gear, kind of like what Max said, like you have kids in the house, you don't really want things that have cameras that your kid could easily access online to like random strangers. And to me, I'm like, would like adults get a camera to like chat with their adult? I just don't see that. I'm like, I feel like they would just get on FaceTime, or they would have a setup like what we do, where we'd get like a webcam and like I don't know. We all went through 2020. I think most of us had to get webcams, even just for like work. So it's just kind of, I don't know. The webcam's a weird one. I will say, I'll put a pin in that on my overall opinion. I think it's weird. It's a weird feature.
It is weird, and I'm wondering, how is Nintendo going to incorporate any sort of filtering?
I know.
Well, they have parental controls, but I mean that can only go so far. But yeah, I don't know. I won't go off on a tangent, but it's very much me and Ruthie are of the mindset like we're never really going to let our kids play like Minecraft or like online games where they can just talk to a random like hub of strangers. Like that's just not
remember
something we're
the
ever going to allow.
Like,
Yeah.
remember how you could create Miis and then go to a public space and see all the other created Miis that people made?
Well, that was
Yeah.
I
fine because
remember
you
there
didn't like speak to them. You just said like, "Hey," you like
well,
waved
yeah,
at them.
but there was, people would create Miis that were, not content appropriate
Well,
Oh,
now we
gotcha.
have Tamagotchi life, so get ready for that.
That trailer was bonkers.
That trailer was terrifying. I liked when they
I
didn't
loved it just
talk.
because of how strange it was. I was
I didn't see that
Um,
one actually.
but I think this is a good segue. So price tags. Um,
Mm.
so the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming in at a $450 price tag, or you can bundle it for $500 to get that plus a digital version of Mario Kart. Now, I do, again, this link will be in the description of the podcast. I linked the official Stream Deck store page to kind of compare some things. So on here, you'll see 3 Stream Decks, an LCD and 2 OLEDs. Obviously, the Switch 2 is LCD, so let's compare it to that, right? For $400, you get the Stream Deck, you get 256 gigabytes. It is a 1280 by 800 LCD display. It's only 7-inch diagonal size, up to just 60 hertz refresh rate. Battery life anywhere from 2 to 8 hours, and like a carrying case. So that's $400. And if you want to buy the official first party Steam Deck docking station, it's $80. Now, obviously, a lot of people probably don't buy it. I think you can just buy third party for like super cheap. However,
Yeah.
when I was on this page, I started looking at this and I said, you know what? I think I understand why Nintendo went 450. They have 0.9 inches of a bigger display. They claim double the hertz this thing gets. A 1080p screen versus just 1280. Looks like battery life is comparable. And technically, they are including a dock that I think they charge $70 for. I'll have to compare, but I will say my initial thoughts were that this price tag wasn't shocking. I think a lot of people out there were hoping for like $399. When I saw this and I saw this like Steam Deck page, I was like, I have a feeling Nintendo really looked at Steam because I know they have like a really bestseller as well as like the ROG, but I think they only have OLED. So before I get on that tangent, I think they saw that and were like, hey, an LCD screen, they do it for 400. We have better. We'll charge 450, but we're also giving you like our Joy-Cons. We're giving you, the docking stations, so on and so forth. So I will say that I actually think 450 is fine for the price for what you're getting. And after I watched a couple people's reviews at the Treehouse event, it seems like it actually does perform a little bit better than the Steam Deck. Definitely better in like docking mode and stuff, which is cool. So 450 feels right to me. But I'll let you guys talk. What do you guys think? What were your initial reactions to it and that kind of thing?
Do you want to go
Yeah.
first, Pete?
Well, I didn't do any comparison to the Steam Deck particularly, but I was just thinking of like what they priced the PlayStation 5 at. And I think it was just hearing, something right at 500 just seemed a little bit um uh, better than what I've been hearing from most consoles, knowing that this is their flagship um for Nintendo, and I know it's not as large of a console and doesn't it's usually less than the price that they've released the PlayStation console and Xbox at. So I was happy to hear it. And plus, I'm just once I saw 120 frames, that's really what sold it for me, I believe.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not mad at the price either. I think them making a tier with the Mario Kart bundle at 500 is actually super smart because that's pretty much going to guarantee that most people are going to go for that bundle because why wouldn't you? You can get Mario Kart for $30 less than what you'd have to buy it alone. Um, so I think the attach rate of Switch 2s to Mario Kart is going to be almost, 1-to-1 in a lot of sense.
Mm.
If you can get that bundle. But yeah, I'm not mad about the price either. I think that it's very comparable. If it runs better, even or even if it's even comparable to the Switch or to the Steam Deck, excuse me, I still think that's a very good price for all the stuff that you get. So yeah, I'm not mad about the price of the system itself.
Yeah, and I pulled up their site that shows like the prices of like other accessories that you can get. So the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, which the Pro controller is hand down my favorite controller that exists. I
Oh,
do
so
want
great.
this,
I
and
do too.
I'm assuming it's probably only going to get better. It probably has, I don't know, it's good, and it also is now going to include like back triggers, which is great. Anyways, so the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller is going to be $80. The Joy-Cons are $90. The Joy-Con 2 charging grip is $34.99. The Joy-Con 2 straps are $12.99. You can get Joy-Con wheels, 2 of them, for $19.99. The Nintendo Switch 2 camera is $49.99. The Nintendo Switch dock set, which includes HDMI, a power brick, and the USB-C plus the dock, is $109.99. Hi.
Like if you want an extra dock, you mean?
Yep.
Outside
Yeah.
of the one that comes with it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm kind of just like looking at, right, like they're charging $450 and you get like a dock and you get, so it's kind of like the price seems pretty fair.
Yeah.
A carrying case plus screen protector is going to be $34.99. A Switch 2 all-in-one carrying case, which can hold your dock and like Joy-Cons and stuff, but not the actual Switch, it's going to be $80, which seems kind of insane. A Switch 2 AC adapter is going to be $30, and then they have like micro SD cards. But so I mean, yeah, $450 seems pretty good, especially if they're claiming if you want to get an actual first party dock, it costs $110. That's kind of insane.
Did you say the controllers were 90?
And controllers are
Joy-Cons,
now
yeah.
$90. Yep.
Wow.
They're what,
Well,
70?
They better not
Yeah,
have any.
currently Joy-Cons are $70 for the Switch 1.
I know they're promising big things about them not having any issues this time because of the magnets and everything.
Yeah.
For a $90 price tag, I really hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, do you guys know if the Switch 2 is going to come with their little like weird controller thing, the like grip?
Oh, you mean that thing that you can like slide on the end of it?
Yeah.
Like, give it more of a grip?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think with the magnets, I don't know if they can do that.
They have
Well,
one. They do have a grip.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I just didn't know because
Um,
I think the original Switch came with the grip, right? You got the
It
dock
did.
and the little grip thing.
It did, yeah.
I'm
My
just
head
trying
is
to figure
telling
out
me
as
that-
far as like, I don't know,
Yeah.
just trying to
You
see what
guys
all
might
comes in the box.
Think the
My head is
magnets will
telling me no, they'll make you pay for it.
pinch your fingers or something?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if
know
you got
how
a
strong.
blister from like putting your Joy-Con back in? You like pinch yourself.
Ow.
What happened to you? I got mercury poisoning from the magnets in my Switch controller.
Well, and now more prices, right? The games themselves. This is the big controversy. If you're listening to this podcast, you are probably aware of what's going on. Games are pretty much ranging. I actually have a screenshot. Anywhere. It's very odd. Games are ranging anywhere as low as like $40 to like $90. So it looks like Kirby is going to be $80. Street Fighter 6 is $60. Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70. Bravely Default Remaster is $40. The Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition is $70. And then Mario Kart World is $80. And I think these are just I don't really know if these are like digital only prices. It's kind of nuts. We have hit that era. That's the big topic, right? Mario Kart is saying it's an $80 digital game. I think there's screenshots out there that show that like for the most part, depending on I guess like your currency of your country, there's like a $10 difference, at least in the US, between digital and physical. So if like Mario Kart is going for 80 digital, people are like, does that mean it's going 90 for physical, right? And Donkey Kong's going to be 70 for digital. So does that mean it's going to be 80 for physical? I don't know. There's a lot going on around here. I think this definitely now means that other AAA parties are going to be like, sweet, we were just waiting for somebody to make the move. Someone finally made the move. Now all our games are also going to be $20 more than what they are. I've been reading a lot, and I'm gonna say I just don't like it. I didn't like when they went 70. I barely buy $70 games now because I just don't enjoy it. I've been reading a lot of people though who are like, oh, a lot of you guys are complaining. Like, I saw a post that said, I just went out for dinner and I spent $250 for a 2-hour experience with tip. I'm totally fine paying $80 for 100+ hours.
Yeah,
And my
you're in
whole
the
thing is,
1%, bro.
yeah, I don't like comparing hours to money. I don't
Yeah.
think that a game of how many hours it is should determine how well it was worth it. Because I can put I've put hundreds of hours into Minecraft, hundreds of thousands of hours, but I don't think Minecraft's a $90, $100 game. Like, let's just be honest. Like, Stardew Valley, I have 500 hours I just looked at on Stardew Valley, and like, no, I'm good. I don't think I would have wanted to pay
Hollow
$70
Knight was
for it.
$15.
Yeah, like, so I don't agree with everybody who's just like, well, I get 100+ hours, so it's totally worth this. That's fine. That's what they believe. I don't. I think 80 is a little bit much. I also don't love the idea that like one day I'm gonna have kids who want to get video games, and I'm gonna be dishing out like $100 for a stinking video game. And it's like, man, my kid might get tired of the game in like 2 hours. And like, oh, there it is. Guess that money. Like, I don't know. It seems crazy. When I told Julie about this, I was like, yeah, games. And she's like, I don't love that that's what's happening, and that like these games that are designed for like kids are now going to be almost upwards to $100 a pop.
With tax, you're already at 100.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah, with tax you are. And I know that like for the US listeners out there, there's a lot of like tariff talk that just happened yesterday on the 2nd. So we're getting a lot of like import taxes that are happening now. I think everything we import is being taxed. And so like there's also just like kind of money stress is kind of going on right around just kind of like the economy and just the state of things. So I think that like it's also an unfortunate time to be seeing all this kind of stuff. Like, do I think 450 for the console is fair? I do.
Yeah.
I still just don't like it because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna dish out 450. But I mean, I have some closing remarks that kind of touch on this, so I'll probably talk a little bit more about it later. But yeah, I don't know. Games. I knew games were gonna go up eventually. I think I was just not expecting them yet, because usually it happens when like Sony or Xbox come out with like their new next gen, but it's like a true like, holy crap, like this is changing. Like when we went from PS4 to PS5 and Xbox One to Series X, like the console got so much stronger, and you're like, okay, fine, let's dish it out. To me, I'm like, the Switch wasn't able to play Cyberpunk, but like now it can, just like the Series X or the PS5. So why are we increasing prices of things? Or like, you could already play Mario Kart on a Switch 1. What really has gone down to make it now play on the Switch 2 to justify it being $80? Like, I don't know. If the Switch 2 could play it, if somehow you could engineer it to play on your PlayStation, probably play fine on your PlayStation. Like, I don't know. To me, price increases come with like huge, like generational shifts. And kind of like what Max said earlier, like the Switch 2 didn't make a generational leap. It's catching up. It made a leap in the handheld, but it didn't make a leap as far as the console goes.
No, it's incremental. Yeah.
So
what
that's
about
my big
if
thoughts.
they introduced a subscription service for Nintendo?
Like a Game Pass.
Yeah. Do you think that they would do something like that at some point?
Well, they have, right? Nintendo Online plus whatever the other thing to like get the GameCubes and stuff like that. I kind of feel like that might. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, because like you can get. I think if you get Nintendo Online Plus Edition, whatever that's called, you do get like Mario Kart's like DLC with it. And I think you get like a couple other like random little things. If I had to guess, maybe they'll just expand on that. Maybe they'll offer some more DLCs through it. I think Nintendo has found their niche of like people really like our retro things that we're offering, like the GameCube that's going to be coming out, and I don't know. I feel like that's just gonna what they're gonna be touching because I don't think they want to lose the money. I think Microsoft did it because they've gotten too big, and it's a way that they can say like, "Hey, people probably aren't going to buy our games because we don't really have a lot of first-party games, but we own a lot of companies, so they'll subscribe to us to play all those games." Whereas Nintendo's like, no one has Mario, so we don't have to worry about someone playing it anywhere else but us, right? Like Microsoft's like, oh, we can offer you Halo, but you can also play it on Steam. You could also play Halo on it. It's like, oh, but you can get it through Game Pass, and it's like a nice. Nintendo doesn't have to worry about that. They're the one they own, right? They own their games. It's the only console.
I'm
you
kind
can
of
play anymore.
wondering now if, because I mentioned Hollow Knight earlier of being $15, I'm wondering if now that they've transitioned to becoming a partner of Nintendo, and I don't know to what extent they partnered with them, but if they are like considered a first party, like
I don't think so.
no, still
No.
third party.
Still
And so
third party.
I guess I'm wondering if they're going to be able to control their own price, or is Nintendo
Oh.
going to influence it to be?
I think they'll be okay because Deltarune
Okay.
is going to
Yeah.
come out the same day as the Switch too, but it's also on Steam. So like, I think Toby Fox still owns Deltarune. I think he just collab where it's like, hey, the Switch 2 will be the first console to be able to get Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 kind of thing.
Yeah, like to your point earlier, Tyler, I think that we are kind of entering a new realm of gaming prices, but I think at the end of the day too that these publishers, specifically the third parties, still have control over how much they are going to price their games. And there are still games coming out today that are coming out for like 30, 40, $50 because the developer is like, you know what, I think this is a fair price for the game that we're making, you know. And I love that. I love that not everyone is just like, oh, our game's only 6 hours long. Like you're saying, I don't like to compare hours to quality and to price or anything like that, but it's like we know what this game is worth, and it's worth $50. So that's all we're going to ask of our consumers.
Yeah.
Where absolutely Nintendo with their first parties, I would not be surprised whatsoever if every single first party Nintendo game that came out was $70 or $80 digital. You know, like if it's a Mario game, we're asking you to shell out 80. For Donkey Kong, just 70. You know, but like I think that's unfortunately the new norm. And honestly, I think that, yeah, absolutely, PlayStation, Xbox, and all these other publishers were kind of waiting for someone to kind of break that ground and kind of take the flack for it to make it the new norm. And if it wasn't going to be Nintendo, it was going to be Rockstar when GTA 6 came out, because I guarantee you when GTA 6 comes out, it will be $100.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that.
You're right.
I've been thinking about that too. It's so going to be $100 game.
It's going to be $100. I guarantee it. Like, well, I can't guarantee it, but like, I would not be surprised if it was. Like,
I wouldn't either,
because they were like, you know what, GTA 5 is the most successful video game ever made. Like, or GTA 5, I think.
Yeah, GTA 5.
Like, yeah, we're asking you $100 because we know you'll pay it if you want to buy it. And that, like, for me, that's really kind of scummy. Like, I really don't love that, because like, but at the same time, like, it's like, if the quality of your game is worth $100 and I have the money to pay $100 for it and I really want to play it, sure, I'll support that. But like, it's hard for me a little bit, because like, I don't think it was a coincidence that the Nintendo Direct took place on the very same day that the tariff laws went into effect. I don't think it was a coincidence that we watched the Nintendo Switch Direct and nowhere in the Direct do they ever mention price. They waited until a few minutes after the Direct to finally release that information, because they knew it would pollute the waters, and it did. I mean, if you look at like the comment chats of all these treehouse events, literally like the most common comment is drop the price in all
Yeah.
caps. Like people
Yeah.
are upset. Like this is gatekeeping people from these games and consoles because it's so expensive. But the problem is too, um, and I believe this is that like the economy is just in a real bad place right now. Like it is just like we are in a real rough situation. These tariffs, Japan is getting a 24% import tariff, like
Mm.
levied. And so, in a way, I kind of get it. And I could be completely wrong about this. I don't know. But if I'm Nintendo and I'm in Japan and I know I'm going to have to pay a 24% levy on anything I import to the Americas or to, like, yeah, I'm going to try and make that money back by asking for more money for the product. Like
Yeah.
it kind of at the end of the day, you know, the consumer is the one that kind of has to pay for it, which is a bummer. But I don't know. I think a part of me gets it. I think what it does constitute, though, is kind of the downside to that for Nintendo is it does put a little stain on their relationship with their consumers,
Yeah.
especially because Nintendo is a family product. They are focus on the family. They
Yeah.
are literally like the system for families for games that you want to play with your kids. And $60 always felt like the right price point for me, or lower than that for games
Yeah.
that are for
60's
kids.
good.
Like $80 to $90, that is so much to ask. And like for me, I know and this goes for PlayStation or whatever system I'm buying on. It just means that I'm going to be much more wary and much more selective about the games that I actually buy on my consoles. Because if you're asking me to shell out $90,
Yeah.
one, it either needs to be a Final Fantasy game, and I know for 100% certain I'm going to play the heck out of that thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or two, you have to prove to me and show me through a demo or through enough gameplay that I see online that this is worth my time and money.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to ask like $80 of me, you better not waste my time. And that's the part that scares me the most, because I could totally see a lot of these publishers taking advantage of that price point and being like, you know what, we're just going to throw out this game, Monster Hunter,
Huh.
that does not run well and is not in the best shape that it's supposed to be, but we're going to ask you premium price for it, even though we
Any
know.
Ubisoft title, right?
Yes, exactly. Where it's like, this is not worth $80. This game is not at a standard it should be at for a game that's going live. That's a problem that we're seeing with a lot of these AAA games, is that they're coming out in in just states that they should not be.
Yeah.
Like you should not have released this game in the state that it is in. Like
Yeah.
it needed more time to cook. And
Yeah.
that's not going to change, but I guarantee you people are going to get a lot more stingy with their money because prices are going up everywhere. And I love video games. It's my hobby. It is a premium hobby. Like it's
Yeah.
expensive. And I only have so much money in my wallet.
Yeah.
So I could
Yeah.
I could totally foresee that.
Well, that's just why I feel like it makes me want to move back to games that I never gave a chance and
Mm.
play games that are on sale
Yeah.
and
Oh
because
yeah.
there's so many out there and
Excuse me.
it's like making me at my point in life turning away from what's new and what's shiny and what's premium. Yeah, like you said, it's all like all of the new games and the new stuff coming out is like premium now and there's so many existing games or things that I've never tried on some of the older consoles or just indie games that have such a more desirable price point that I know I can try or just and not have to like spend a whole lot of time evaluating and calculating all of the reasons why I need to buy this like 90 or $100 game. And I'm thinking of
Yeah.
Tyler's point about the kids too. I remember as a kid just going and seeing a Nintendo game and it would be something that I would just be like it's like I have to have it. I was so excited about new Mario games and things like that. And and then you would like kind of ask your parents. You'd be like, man, this is like the thing that I want. Like a and once you have that like pressure as a parent now to, like you said, that $100 price point is going to really hurt. To have to like have that conversation.
And I
Um,
and I and I think to your point, Peter, the detriment that Nintendo has is that they never drop the prices for their games.
They
Like
really
right,
don't put
with
sales on.
right.
with
That's a
with a
great
play
point.
with a PlayStation first party that I want to play, but I don't want to pay $70 for, I can wait 6 months and buy that thing at 50% off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nintendo doesn't do that.
Yeah.
They
ever.
like Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is still $60. Like even 5 years down the line, like they
Oh
never
no.
Yeah.
like the only time they ever do sales on those first party games is like maybe at the holidays or if it becomes a greatest hit item and it's
Yeah.
like $20 off. But that can really hit.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. I think they're very much waiting to see the reactions and waiting to see how sales go.
Yeah.
They may shift it. You never know. But I don't know. That the game specifically the price tag of the games was like the black spot for me of this whole thing that kind of poisoned the well. Where I was just like, dang, that sucks. And it also kind of puts a grim outlook on the future of gaming of like, man, that just means games across the board are going to be this much.
Yeah, and a lot of people are also trying to like make excuses where it's like, yeah, well, a game in 1990 something was like $30, and because of inflation, that's like $100 today. And it's like, yeah, but like incomes don't really shift with inflation. Inflation increases a lot faster than the income rises. And like now with all these tariffs, we're like dealing with all these like imported goods and like groceries and I don't know. Like one of the, I guess on the last point of like price, one of the things that I made note of where I said, let's see, I don't like how hard it has been to find pricing on the consoles and the games. I feel like it's been very awkward and not direct.
Mhm.
If you expected backlash, maybe adjust, what you're doing in the first place. But it's Nintendo, and they know that most consumers are just gonna be bootlickers and buy this kind of stuff. And then I also said that it just kind of stinks that now I feel like when May and like June comes around for like the pre-orders and stuff, me as just a husband now, someone who has to like take care of more than just myself, I feel like financially I'm gonna be like thinking like, do I get groceries? Do I get a Switch? Groceries are gonna win out. I probably am gonna get the Switch. I just can't afford it because it just doesn't make any sense. When like the time comes around to actually do it because of just like projections that we're hearing of like your grocery bill could be going up $50 to $100 a visit, right? And if you're visiting 4 or 5 times a month, boom, it's like $500 more. That's a Switch console and just like grocery price. Obviously, these are all like projections and stuff, and this could totally change come May and June. But as it is like right now, I'm not really sure if I even can see myself getting this, even though like I say all this and I am disappointed at like the prices of these new games. But I would like to get the Switch too, because I would like to play some of these games enhanced. They mentioned Scarlet and Violet is going to get a free Switch 2 update to perform better. That would be incredible. I would so hope that works because
Oh yeah.
I've been saying that to you guys forever of like, I've wanted that so badly so that I can experience like their DLCs in a better performance. I want to get the Switch 2. I want to play Pokemon. That's my thing. I want to just do that. I want to experience it in a good way. And it makes me kind of sad where I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to get one. I mean, maybe eventually like down the road, but yeah, it's just kind of a bummer. It's just an awkward time to be like talking about dishing out a lot of money. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there were good things, right? There really were. It was overall a really cool direct. A ton of games were announced. I actually have the entire list here. So like I said, there are 4 categories. We got new games. We got enhanced for the Switch 2. We have like free version updates, which are different. Like I just said, like Pokemon is going to be one of those games that get a free update, whereas like Breath of the Wild is getting a enhanced like Switch 2 version, kind of like what they did with like PlayStation. I think PlayStation had some like PlayStation 5 enhanced, and so they're like a little bit more expensive. And then older games are coming to the Switch too. So here are all the games that they announced at this Direct. We have Mario Kart World, Kirby Air Riders, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom getting a Switch 2 edition versions, Metroid Prime 4 with a Switch 2 edition featuring the mouse controls, Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed Worlds, like a little DLC kind of thing for it that'll be on the Switch 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree expanded version with mouse controls, Pokemon Legends ZA Switch 2 editions with improved performance and frame rate, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which I would say looks like a very crappy version of that really amazing Sony game. Drag and Drive with the mouse controls. It's like the basketball wheelchair 3v3. Nintendo GameCube games for the Switch 2 via online expanded edition. Games like Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, sorry Max, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2. Oddly enough, Sunshine will be making an appearance, even though they already have a ported version of Sunshine. I digress. Pokemon XD, Pokemon Coliseum, super exciting. Dusk Bloods, which is From Software's exclusive Switch 2, totally not Bloodborne, so Sony won't sue them. Exclusive launch for the Switch 2. Maybe it'll be in PC later, maybe not. Get ready to emulate it though. Elden Ring, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment. Can't believe they still make these games. Deltarunes Chapter 3 to 4, first time in 7 years, same day as the Switch 2. Should also be on Steam, like I said earlier. Hades 2 will be releasing on the Switch and Switch 2 for the first time on a console. They'll be the first consoles to get it. EA Sports Madden NFL, EA Sports FC, NBA 2K, WWE 2K, Split Fiction, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition that apparently just runs around 40 frames, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Street Fighter 6, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Hogwarts Legacy, Bravely Default, Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Borderlands 4, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, Fortnite, Enter the Dungeon 2, Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition, Project 007, Starseeker, Astronomer Expeditions, Daemon X Machina, Titanic Psychonic, Survival Kids, Star Wars Outlaws, Silk Song, Katsunigami, Path of the Goddess, and Reanimal.
Well done. Well done.
That is every game.
You started to sound like a medical ad at the end.
I'm actually winded. I'm gonna let you guys talk about what you're excited for.
I didn't know you could talk that fast. All right.
I didn't
500, here goes 500, 600, 700.
I actually also
have a
really have
talent,
to
a
go to
knack
the
for
bathroom. I'll be right back.
auctioning.
You guys keep talking about these games though.
Okay.
Okay, Max. Which games were a surprise for you?
I mean, let's start with From Software. I was never in 100 years thinking that they were going to get an exclusive From Software game on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
It does.
Dusk Bloods. There's like a freaking T-Rex in it. I'm like, what the heck is happening in this game?
Yeah.
But I have such an appreciation for From Software. I'm such a baby though. I could never play any of their games. I feel like I would never. Honestly, this may be my chance to jump into Elden Ring and like see if I can play it and like do well in it.
The Tarnished Edition?
Yeah, Tarnished Edition. But yeah, I think that was a huge get. I think that was definitely a flex from Nintendo being like, we got From Software. I did look online, and it does look like Dusk Bloods is going to be a multiplayer game.
I saw that too. It's you can't make it single player. It's like forcing you into a multiplayer. It almost seems like a way they're incorporating this battle royale style into a Dark Souls game. Like you all drop into a Dark Souls world or a Bloodborne world.
It very much seems like Switch's version of this whole Night Rain DLC that's coming for Elden Ring, potentially.
What are we talking about?
The Dusk Bloods. We started with the From Software game.
That
Bloodborne
it was a
2.
multiplayer game.
Dustbloods is?
It
Yeah, it
is.
is.
And
Yeah.
it's from what
Oh.
I was described, you have multiple people that drop
Oh
into
no.
one world, and then you go
Oh
and
no,
you
that's
fight
ass.
you
Oh
fight each
no.
other and the
Oh, no.
monsters, and there's no opting out of the PvP aspect. You're gonna be like
Oh.
queuing into the world,
But
and I think
but
it might
Peter,
be
you
like
can play as a dinosaur and eat people.
Wait. Isn't that what they're doing with Elden Ring? They already announced like
Yeah.
the whole like
yeah.
Night Rain.
so they're
And
not
so
even
this is
giving
like
us Bloodborne 2, so Sony totally
no,
couldn't even sue them because
No.
there's nothing related
no.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's completely
Oh,
separate.
And so yeah, it's
so
gonna be a multiplayer.
stupid.
Yeah, there's some hardcore like From Software fans that are really disappointed in it because
Ah.
Because a lot of people
it
thought,
has that Bloodborne theme.
yeah, exactly. A lot of people thought it was Bloodborne 2, and people were
Yeah.
like freaking out. I was freaking out because I don't even play Bloodborne, and I was like, "Holy crap, they got Bloodborne 2!" And then no, but like, I mean,
Wow.
it still looks cool. Like
Come
I,
on. It does
I
it does
mean,
look cool. Yeah, it does.
It makes
Yeah.
me
yeah,
think of the guy with the jetpack, and I can already
That
see a
was
guy.
so funny.
There's gonna be a
dude,
guy flying over me,
the
shooting me from a place I can't
yeah,
see. I'm gonna get so frustrated. I'm just gonna not want to play.
Oh man.
I kind of want to play it just to be the T-Rex, but I don't know. Yeah,
Gosh, I cannot
that one
believe.
looks crazy. I will say, I kind of hope that the Switch 2 enhanced versions of games, I really hope they go the route, like the paid ones, I should say. I really hope they go the route of if you already own the game, it's only $10 to upgrade kind of deal. Because that's what PlayStation does. If they do that thing where it's like, if Nintendo does the thing where it's like, oh, you want the upgraded version of Kirby and the Forgotten Lands to get that DLC, $20, $30. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be like, are you kidding me? Like, dude, I already own this game. But I don't think they've released price tags for any of that yet, which is interesting.
Yeah, let's see. So
Um,
Nintendo has confirmed Breath of the Wild 2's game will be enhanced for the Switch 2, offering high resolution. Both will be available on the launch on the 5th. In addition, a Zelda Notes function has been added to the app. It'll guide you through the shrines, all that kind of stuff. Current owners of either game on the original Switch will be offered an upgrade purchase to experience the enhancements on Switch 2. Alternatively, if you are a member of Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, which is the thing that lets you get, I think, GameCube and something
yeah,
else,
GameCube, Game Boy Advance, and 64 games, all that.
you'll get access to the upgrade at no additional cost.
So that's how they do it. Like it's another, which I get. It's another avenue to get people to get their online
Yeah.
yearly subscription.
Yeah.
Which yeah.
So
Which
I
I'd pay
asked
a
Max-
month to play Here's the Kingdom because I've already beaten it.
Yeah.
I would pay a month of expansion pack to be
play it
able
in
to
that new-
play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, like play the GameCube stuff, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe it would all have to like depend. I feel like I would do it at a time when multiple games I had featured like enhancement versions. Like maybe if it was
Mhm.
like this plus that plus this, like maybe I'd bundle it all for a month and try to like do that in a month.
I can't wait
Yeah.
for Pokemon XD
Oh,
on
yeah,
GameCube.
yeah, that'll
Oh
be
my
cool.
that game is so good.
Fun.
My heart broke when I saw Wind Waker in that form. I was like,
When I saw
God.
that, I was like, that
I was
remake
like,
ain't happening.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought, man. I was
It's like,
like,
that
well, there
remake's not
goes
coming,
my
bro.
hope for Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD on the Switch. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuck on the Wii U for life.
What'd you guys think
But-
of Mario Kart World about like driving anywhere and free
Oh,
roaming
that
with your
was-
homies?
I
That
thought
was
that
awesome.
was cool, but I'm wondering like how much I would play in that mode.
To
Like,
be
how much is
honest,
gonna be
I would
off-
probably play
offered.
more in that than actually racing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I don't-
could kinda
I
go-
actually don't like Mario Kart. I think I'm
Oh.
the 30th,
Well-
the 1 and 3rd here. I get bored of Mario Kart very quick. I usually play it for like a couple days and then I'm done. I could see
Yeah.
myself, only just because of me, I could see myself free roaming a lot more than actually racing.
Yeah.
I was super
Yeah.
excited for the free roaming. I'm just hoping that it has things to do like unlockables throughout
Yeah.
that
Close
mode,
and
not
stuff.
just like
Yeah.
only
I
free
think it
roam,
will.
where
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel empty like an open world, because the world looks so cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like to be able to free roam like that. I loved how it was like there was a guy um on the screen or something like that, and they all had the face video on. But the
Yeah.
guy was like, "Yeah, follow me. Let's go on an adventure." And then like his wife and kids like all followed him,
Yeah.
and it
I
was cool. Um, uh, I just oh yeah, it also made me think of the those racing games that you really like, Tyler, like
Forza
the
Horizon.
Forza, where you get to just
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
drive and
Yep.
like drift.
The
I
best.
wonder if there's gonna be drifting. Like
There should.
how
Mario Kart
how
has
much?
drifting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I wonder if it'll be the same type of drifting though.
I kind of like that there's going
Probably.
to be that you drive to the next course. I think
That's
that's kind of
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
The
pretty cool.
knockout race looks pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think so? If you look at the trailer, you'll notice Luigi and Mario's car are kind of like NASCAR racer cars, to where they have like stickers. I was talking to Julia. I was like, I wonder if they'll let you actually like customize your car now with like stickers and decals and
Ooh.
stuff.
Mm.
I also thought it was funny that like you could eat a burger and then like you transform your Mario into like a different skinned Mario.
Yeah.
I
I
wonder
love
like
that.
if the skins are gonna have something to it, or like I don't know, but it's kind of
I-
cool to have like alternative looks for your
Yeah,
characters.
that was honestly that was the part that excited Ruthie the most. She like when it showed Peach with all the different outfits.
Yeah.
She like I saw her eyes like light up. She was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's cool."
Or
That could be a fun exploration thing, right? If you're like free roaming and like maybe you can
yeah.
unlock skins.
Maybe that's how you
that can,
find
like,
them.
then use. Yeah,
or
cool.
maybe
maybe
they're incorporating bug snacks and you're actually eating Burgie, and then it's gonna start to turn you into those like
one thing I did want to mention. I don't
food
know if you guys caught
creatures.
this either. It looks like they've made the characters more like chibi-esque. Like they
Mm.
seem tiny. Like
Hmm.
Mario as like a character looks different. Like he looks
I'll have to look again.
yeah,
I
he
didn't
looks
notice
a
that.
lot more like what's the word?
Donkey?
Yeah, like miniature. Like Donkey
Yeah.
Kong's completely different.
Scout?
Yeah.
And the cars look
Out
tinier too.
Mario.
Like
Yeah.
the cars look
Yeah.
tinier.
Yeah. They do. They don't look as like as large.
Yeah. So like it's kind of a cool look. It feels kind of retro to me, but I
Mm.
like it. I think it's pretty cool.
I like the
But yeah.
cow. Cow's cool.
Yes. Cow from Moo Moo Farms. That was awesome.
It looks
I-
it looks so
Gosh,
good in 120. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
120, but it looks
it
so
should.
good
Oh,
in the trailer.
it'll hit
Yeah,
100,
yeah,
but
yeah.
And
Bro, if
it-
League of Legends can play at like 400 frames, Mario Kart can play at 120.
yes.
I'm thinking that
absolutely.
it would be cool in the open world if they have like almost little events that happen. Like you can go play hide and seek over here, and or you can play like the battle, like when you drop in, like and you would shoot turtle shells at each other, and you have balloons above your car,
It'd be interesting
and
to
they might
see.
might
That'd
have
be
like
interesting.
little spontaneous things that would happen.
Yeah.
In a
with other
perfect
people.
world, this Mario Kart would be like Forza Horizons, where I could just like free roam and like do missions and like that. I don't think it's gonna
Mm.
be like that, but
Mm.
yeah,
You're just driving around and Wario shows up and be like, "Race me, Mario."
Yeah, exactly. That'd be
That would
so
be so
sick.
cool.
That'd be so sick.
Like
And
all
he's
of a
on his
sudden, we're-
motorcycle.
Oh,
Dude,
bro, give me
that just
that
makes me
Mario
think of, like,
Kart.
that just makes me think of like Midnight Club or Burnout
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah,
that. I'm
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
that would be incredible.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm excited for Mario Kart. I'm excited for the DK game, but that's
Yeah.
one of those games where I'm like, I kind of want to see what it's about before I
Mm,
actually
okay.
buy it.
Yeah.
But-
DK looks different.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, they changed his look.
Yeah.
Well,
DK looking different.
they changed his look to match more of what he looks like in the movie.
Oh, I don't
Same
know
like
if I
what-
like it.
It's like what they did with Victor in League, Peter, where they're like, now Victor looks like Arcane Season 2
Yeah,
Victor.
I
and
don't know if
all
I
that kinda
like
stuff.
it.
I'm actually
I like-
really hyped for Donkey Kong.
Oh, the
I
game looks
like-
great.
I like Donkey Kong. I also, If you haven't watched Donkey's video yet on the Switch, it's so good.
I gotta watch that
You
tonight.
gotta
man, I
watch.
gotta
It's
see
like
it.
it's a great like classic 5-minute Donkey video. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks
looks
good. I like it.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I think the part that worries me just because of how I am as a gamer, the fact that everything on the map is like something you can destroy or like
Mm.
how it showed that you can like dive under the ground and like mine things and stuff like that. That's not usually my kind of game. Like it seems very Minecrafty to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd give it a shot if the story like there's probably not much of a story, but like if the gameplay is really good, I
Yeah,
think
you
this is
think
kind of
it'll
there.
go super in depth with that digging mechanic, or do you think it'll just be like here
I
and
feel like it's
there, or do you think it'll
destruction is like more of the thing, not
A big
necessarily
thing.
digging.
it's not just digging? Oh yeah.
It
Oh,
kind of seems
okay.
like destruction is like maybe there'll be like spots where you can dig. It was
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
a good
hard to
point.
get the vibe of like, was
How
this
it
trying to
plays.
say like, hey, this is Mario Odyssey
But
as
DK.
like Donkey Kong? If that is kind of how it goes and how I kind of saw it, that's what I want. Like I want like their version of Mario Odyssey, but you're playing as Donkey Kong. Like that would be really cool. And I
Make
hope
it
that's like what they're doing.
It looks like
Mario Odyssey
Astroneer.
meets DK64. That
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Because
You remember that
like,
game?
I'm sorry, what, Peter?
You remember Astroneer? Did you play that with me,
I've heard
Tyler?
of that one. I don't think I've
It's
played it.
like the terraforming game, and it kind of looks like that terraforming, like when he's breaking the blocks around and
You know what it does look like too?
what?
You remember the sci-fi space game that we
I think yeah.
oh my gosh,
Returnal?
why can't I think? Huh?
Returnal?
No. The one that's
Oh,
been through
the
like
digging game, the mining game you're talking about?
it's been through like a bunch of upgrades. It's like one of the best games now because the developers haven't given up on it and the community's really good. Holy cow, you can travel to all the planets. We're almost there.
Ark.
Nope. We're almost there.
Not Ark.
Why?
It's like an A, right? It starts with an A, or
just typed in the word space.
it's you travel from planet to planet.
Yeah. It's huge.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Woo!
How did I think A?
So the digging in No Man's Sky looks just like when Donkey Kong digs.
No way.
Where it's like really weird, awkward, like pixels. It looked just like that. It was very interesting to me. Woo, we got there. That took a while.
So
that's fine. We weren't
this
giving
is
up.
going to be like the Odyssey launch
I don't
game,
know.
pretty much.
I don't know.
I
Well,
know.
it comes out in July, but
yeah, it's not a launch game. Really, I think the launch games are really going to be like the big ones, I should say, are going to be Mario Kart, the wheelchair basketball game, and Metroid 4. Yeah.
Is Metroid 4 a launch game?
They haven't said it, but I would be shocked if it didn't go
What
the
did you
same time as
What did you guys think of Hyrule Warriors coming back?
I don't like those games.
As like an extension of the storyline in the past.
That's stupid.
Yeah, like I don't
I
like
never liked those games either.
I don't like Muso games. Like
No.
like
Dynasty
it
Warriors, that type of thing.
Oh no, it's just those just seem so boring to me. I don't want to just mash a button and
Hack and
thousands of
slash.
enemies go flying. Like it's just like there's no gameplay substance to that.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
agree.
Agreed.
They had something like that on the Switch. I remember back during Twilight Princess, they had a Hyrule Warriors that came out. If you remember,
There's
I
been
remember I
2.
had that.
This will be the 3rd Hyrule Warrior game.
Yeah,
That's crazy that they made 3.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys have any interest in Enter the Gungeon 2 when it was announced?
No. I played
Not
Enter the
really.
Gungeon and it was like fine.
For me, I've been playing that recently and I was extremely surprised. Like that really caught me off guard when I saw that, because I'm like actively playing Enter the Gungeon because it's just a game I decided to go back to because it was only $1 on Steam, and I just decided I wanted to give it a try, and because Monster Hunter Wilds really
bombed.
made me sad And so I just wanted to play something that that was the complete opposite to kind of like show myself that I can have fun not buying a $70 botched game. Um, and I've been having a great time with it. And then
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I see that they saw them. I mean, it's in 3D. I'm like, what? Because the 2D aspect is just it's one of those bullet hell, I think they call it,
Mm-hmm.
style
bullet hell
games.
games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are they going to do that in
Roguelike bullet
3D?
hell.
And they showed a little bit of the gameplay, and it kind of looks like it works. I don't know if I'm fully on board with it yet. I am still excited because it's the same developers and they do a really good job. And
Yeah.
so I'm pretty excited for that game actually. Apparently it's going to be a Switch exclusive. Um,
Wow.
so Enter the Gungeon 2 only on Nintendo Switch 2 from
Yeah,
what I'm seeing.
that's where I also get so confused, right? Because they use the term exclusive just like Sony and Xbox would, but like eventually they went
It
to
goes-
PC.
Yeah, it'll probably
Or
go to
other
PC.
So it's like I'm curious about which of these are actually going to be like exclusive. To me, making Enter the Gungeon 2 a Switch 2 exclusive is kind of dumb. I feel
It
like
is
that thing needs to be on Steam so you can get it on a Steam
You would
Deck.
think so.
It needs to go everywhere else. I feel like it
And-
might be launch
Timed
exclusive.
Do you
Yeah.
think Hollow Knight is going to be launch exclusive? Because
Yeah.
I don't think they've
think
announced
so.
it yet.
No, Hollow Knight Silk Song will be console wide.
Yeah.
I would be.
I would think
I would
so.
be shocked if
Yeah.
Silk Song wasn't. Like,
I
I
just
think at
remember way
most,
back-
again, like console exclusive at launch. I think that
Yeah.
might be the most I could
Maybe.
see it, but yeah, that'd be dumb.
yeah. I don't know. The last game that I'll mention that I'm very excited. The new Professor Layton. I cannot wait.
Oh
Or-
yeah. I forgot to write that one down. I think.
I love Professor Layton. Not as much as Ace Attorney. I'm still waiting for the next one of those, but I am
Yeah,
excited for that.
I'm all things Pokemon. I mean, you guys know ZA getting improved performance and frame rate is going to be awesome. I'm already kind of skeptical of that game as a whole, and I think that could be an entire just like discussion on its own about my feelings of ZA. But I'm excited to like try it out. And I think it'll be really fun. And obviously, anytime I hear the words Pokemon with performance and frame rate is pretty exciting. So it's cool to see that. Really excited for XD and Coliseum, even though I do own them physically for the GameCube, and I have my GameCube next to me. It'll be nice to be able to like play them on the go on the Switch. And then today I read that I said it earlier. Scarlet and Violet are gonna get a free Switch 2 update. There hasn't been said exactly what the update will include, but I would be outrageously surprised if it doesn't even help a little bit with like frame rate and performance, because Scarlet and Violet is still their first party title, like their primary title. And they're still making events for it. They're still going through a bunch of competitive stuff with it, which the Pokemon competitive scene is huge. So it's like, I would be surprised if they don't try to make it perform better so that people still have it until whatever the Switch 2 Pokemon game is going to be. So obviously all Pokemon stuff is what got me super excited. And I would say outside of that, Donkey Kong was cool. I really liked Donkey Kong. I don't know. The other stuff I was kind of, hit or miss. Like Civ 6, I probably get on PC. Street Fighter, I don't care about. Cyberpunk, I've tried playing like 20 times. And I've just don't give a shiz about that game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater's pretty dope. That could be kind of fun. I'm a big Pro Skater fan.
Deltarune, I'm excited for.
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about Deltarune. I played
I don't either.
Undertale, but I don't know much about Deltarune.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a successor of Undertale. It's really great.
Cool.
I love that.
Yeah, that'll
I'm
be
just
fun.
thinking, Tyler, can you imagine being in like a wild area of Pokemon ZA? And apparently the Switch supports up to 12 player voice chat. So can you imagine just being in the wild area and having like 12 faces pop up next to people on their bikes, and then somebody screams, "Shiny!"
I got a shiny Chikorita.
You can do 12 people on the Switch chat?
12 player voice chats.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. That's a lot.
I imagine
So-
they did that specifically for Mario Kart because usually in Mario Kart I think there's 12 positions like
Yeah,
one
but
through
now
this
12.
one's 24.
Oh.
You know what's greater than
so you
24?
can
25.
25.
No, so let me ask you this, Tyler. Do you think that ZA is gonna run like crap on the Switch 1?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
The only way to play it is on the Switch 2.
Bro, RIP, man. I don't know. Cause so Legends Arceus, like, if you take Scarlet and Violet in this hand, and you got Arceus in this hand, boom. That's like how the difference was in performance. Scarlet and Violet, for those listening, is low. Arceus
Yeah.
high. And Arceus
Mhm.
didn't perform all that well, but it still performed pretty decent.
It's not a pretty
Um,
game by any means, for sure.
Yeah, it took an interesting like graphical approach to where when it wasn't kind of like looking that great, it made up for it because like it was kind of like a stylistic choice in a way that they were able to like hide
Hmm.
performance through like their styling of the game, which I thought was pretty
Yeah.
smart.
That is
For
smart, yeah.
ZA, it does look like they're trying to go for that cleaner look.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I would not be surprised if Legend ZA performs pretty bad on a 4 GB RAM Switch 1 console. That sounds like a nightmare. So Max, your parents got me the DLC for Pokemon, right? For Scarlet and Violet for Christmas. And
Oh, nice.
I really like it. The first one's fine. The second one is really good. And it's the most unplayable BS ever. It is so frustrating that every time I try to go out there and play the stinking DLC, I
You're
can't.
running at like 10 frames.
It
like,
is so bad. Everything is polygons. Stuff is not functioning. It is atrocious. I had to just stop. And I was like, I will not play this again until it gets a performance boost on the Switch 2.
Ooh.
Like, that is how bad it performs.
Game Freak has to figure this out because if Monolith Soft can release Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is a massive world,
Yeah.
and it looks immaculate, it looks incredible, and they made it run somehow on the Switch 1. That game compared to Scarlet and Violet, it feels like they're not even of the same universe.
I
It's
know.
like how is Game Freak the most financially successful game studio in the world not able to figure out how to make their games run on this?
Yeah.
It's like
They need to make their games look like Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
no, dude.
Like, no?
I mean, I
didn't
don't
like
mind it, but like I didn't love the look of like Brilliant Diamond, Brilliant Pearl. Like I was just like,
Well, it is a little different. I will say, Let's Go
Oh, it
Pikachu and
is.
Eevee
okay.
do look a lot better than the Chibi. They don't go like
Oh,
Chibi
yeah.
style. They have like a little
Yeah.
bit larger of a head, but I'm with Peter. Let's Go is probably one of the better looking ones that they've had, but
The Pokemon looks so good in that one.
they do.
I'll
But I
check it
will,
out.
in the trailer that they had of Legends ZA for like that brief like 6 seconds that they had it on there, it was looking pretty clean. It was looking
did.
pretty good for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I say this every new Pokemon where I'm like, I'm hoping this means the next one is finally the one that's going to be there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon will never die, but man, it's going to be really hard to keep buying their games if they don't like their next first big
Ooh.
Gen 10 or what I think it'll be Gen 10.
Yeah.
That game, it's got to perform well. It's got to do a lot of things right.
Ooh, it
Oh,
does look good on the Switch too.
You got to
Mhm.
think too. To your point, Tyler, right? It's Gen 10. That's a big milestone. So
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna make a whole new engine, I don't know, but like do something to make this like look incredible.
Yeah.
Like the best open world Pokemon game you've ever made. Like whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I guess some like closing remarks. coming up on the hour and a half mark here, getting a little
For
later
sure.
for our
Wanted
end.
to ask you guys, um, what do you guys think about how they're handling the pre-orders? Have you heard about it or
Oh
looked
yeah,
into
yeah,
it at
yeah. I
all?
like how Nintendo's doing it.
I do
Mm,
too. I registered through their
Same.
thing where it's like
Yeah.
if you have an account with them, you can
Yep.
register interest and then
Yep.
it like saves your place for like a pre-order. It's basically how they're trying to prevent scalpers, which I
yeah.
appreciate.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
pull up the criteria
I
while you
saw
guys
there was a lot of
chat.
criteria. You had to be like a Nintendo Online member for 12 months,
Yeah.
oh well,
and
then I'm not gonna. Oh, then I'm not gonna be able to do that.
Well, it's
you have
if
to
you've
have
had
played
it. Have you had it for
50
12 months at
hours.
all in the time that you've owned a Switch?
Um, maybe
I
like
think
years ago.
it just
You
says
could
that
still
like
have it.
it's okay. You have to be 18 or older. The first batch of invitations will go out May 8th, with additional batches of invitation emails sent periodically until purchasing on My Nintendo Store is open to everyone. Initial invitation emails will be delivered on a first come, first serve to eligible registrants who meet the priority criteria. Invitees will have 72 hours from the time they receive it to complete their purchase. Priority requirements are as follows. On 4/2/2025, you must, or as of 4/2/2025, you must have been the one who purchased any Nintendo Switch Online membership. So you have to log into your My Nintendo account, and that account that you logged in with must have been the one that purchased Nintendo Online. You can't just be like a family person. You have to be the plan holder. You must have had any paid Nintendo Switch Online membership for a minimum of 12 months. That means in the 8 years that the Switch has been out, you've had to have had at least
A
12
year.
months of membership at some point, which
Mm,
I read this as like, because it says any paid Nintendo Switch Online membership of 12 months. I don't know if it means 12 months in a row. That's where it's a little hard to
Or
understand.
cumulative, or yeah.
And then 3, you must have opted in to share your gameplay data and have at least 50 hours total gameplay hours, which we definitely all have
We
that.
definitely do. Yeah.
So yeah, that is their criteria. Which yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Scalpers don't have Nintendo Switch Online memberships, and they haven't had it for 12 months, and they don't play games. They scalp.
Yeah.
They won't have 50 hours of gameplay. They probably don't
Yeah,
even own a Switch.
Yeah, that's really
yeah.
smart on their part. It is
Yeah.
interesting, right? Because pre-orders start next
In like what,
week on the
5
9th.
days?
Yeah,
6
like on the
days?
9th.
Yeah.
Now they need to start
Um,
doing this for Pokemon cards.
I may still try and get in my pre-order on the 9th, but
Mm,
if I'm not able to get it, then maybe they'll put me down as someone who can buy it from their own store. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be sad though if I can't get it, but
Yeah.
it just means that it's not time. But
Yeah,
I'll attempt it.
Post Direct, I definitely was feeling a lot more deflated by all the price
Yeah,
announcements. The
for
dust
sure.
was kind of just like settling, so to speak. Already kind of talked about like the economic stance on things. I would say overall, I am leaning more towards I won't be buying the Switch 2 on release or
Yeah.
like pre-ordering it. I
Mm.
will maybe try to wait to see if they do a $400 price on it. Maybe they'll cut it by $50 at one point. I would say that more than likely I would be buying it maybe closer to Legends ZA release, which doesn't have a day either. I think it just sort of says the end of 2025, if I had to guess. But yeah, just because of money and stuff, I think I am leaning more towards I will not be. All right. What about you,
Yeah.
Peter?
Honestly, I pre-order it, and hearing you talk more about, looking at
You
some of
did
the
pre-order it? Is that what you
costs.
said?
No, sorry, not pre-order like officially, but like I signed up
Oh.
to be
Gotcha.
Yeah.
notified or whatever that
Yeah.
it was. And hearing you talk more about like, making sure that you're budgeting for necessities and like the way things are going, it is important to think about.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just throw money at a console that's going to have, a lot of this upkeep of buying like $100 game after $100 game. And so that
Mhm.
does dissuade me more thinking about like, oh, what types of future things are going to be going on in my life. And yeah, I think it'll probably be like, maybe it might be another scenario where I could be swayed to wait,
Mm,
and it might be something that I just start to consider like even 1 year after it comes out, because that's
mm,
what happened with the original Switch, because it was unavailable practically
yeah,
for
For
almost a
yeah,
year,
a year.
yeah,
and I was fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's not
I
really that many launch titles, to be honest. That's the only other thing I was gonna say.
no. Yeah, it's not many. I keep going back and forth honestly because I agree with you both. I think from just an economic time, there's just a lot of turmoil right now for
Yeah.
the US economy. Um, I don't know. I keep going back and forth on it. I already have the money put aside for the Switch 2. Like
Oh, that's
I've been
good.
saving up for it.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
good.
But I don't know. I agree with all of your points of
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like, I don't want to shell out $100, $80 for every new game, but
yeah,
there's a part of me that's like, for me, like, and I'm just speaking for myself, but it's like I know that if I bought this Switch 2, I would enjoy playing it with my family. We would have a
yeah,
really fun
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um, and it's compatible with all of our Switch 1 games.
Yep.
So I can play my library of games in better quality. Um,
Yeah.
I can take my time and really just buy the Switch 2 games that I really want to buy when
Yep.
I've saved up enough money for them. So
Yeah.
I think there's like a part of me that like kind of like sees like, oh, I can make it work, but I'm only speaking for myself kind of thing.
For
Like I
sure.
I
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
I
that's
think
Are
great.
you
that
excited for Xenoblade to be like HD at some point on the new Switch, or any type of Xenoblade game?
oh, I just wanted it to have 60 FPS. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would totally replay Xenoblade 3 with
Or a new
60, but
one maybe to be released.
yeah, or a new one. But yeah, I think I don't know. I keep going back and forth. I think Ruthie really wants to get it. We can afford to get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
so
definitely don't hear what I'm not saying, right? I want the Switch too. I
oh,
so
for
do.
sure.
Mhm.
I
I
really, I
respect
really
your
want
decision
it.
though.
I just know I
I
probably,
Yeah.
respect your decision to not do it though, because
yeah.
honestly, I'm part of the problem
No,
of
I
just like,
really wouldn't say you're a problem at all. I really don't.
no, but I think that we kind of have to vote with our wallets in a lot of ways. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are upset with Nintendo right now of just the prices that they're displaying. And it's
Yeah.
hard for me to gauge whether it's out of necessity or out of just the corporate machine.
Yeah.
Um, so part of me is kind of hoping that sales are not as high as they were forecasting
Yeah.
so that they really take
Yeah.
a second look and other parties, Sony and Microsoft, take a look at that and be like, "Ooh, we better be careful with what we're doing if we
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
successful with this."
For me,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like, I was on the as soon as I saw the video, I was like already locked in and wanting to, like, I want to buy it. It's like I want to buy it, and I want to buy one like for somebody else, type of like, I'm that in on it. But
excitement. But yeah,
Yeah.
I got deflated
hearing
too by the price point. I was like, man,
yeah, I'm
games.
thinking like, because of the where I'm going in my life right now,
Yeah,
entering into next phase of a relationship and all that too. It's like,
now's
um
not the time.
I haven't gotten the chance to like sit down and really budget for it. So I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something I think I should learn
Yeah.
to adapt to before I just like make these decisions spontaneously anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's where, like, for me, like, I think I would be in a different position if I like sat down and like allocated for it, like you said, Max.
Sure.
It's kind of funny how like the three of us hit like the whole like Max leans a little bit more towards it. I'm a little bit no, and like Peter's kind of a little 50-50. It's kind of funny how like the
I like
three of
that.
us kind
Yeah.
of like lined up like that. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. And to be
I like it.
honest, I tell you, ZA is going to come out and the Switch 2 will not change in price. And I'm going to be like, darn. But who knows? Maybe I won't even be able to buy one at that point. I have no idea what stock is going to be like for this
I
thing
care enough
either.
about you enough. I would buy Zoff for you, and then you could just borrow Netflix and play it.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what's going to go on. But yeah, I mean, that was the Switch 2 Direct. it was a huge event, big enough to where we literally took up our typical podcast time purely talking Switch 2, which was kind of fun. It was kind of cool to hit like one topic and just kind of dissect it into its 3 parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any
But-
other
Things come around
games you
every-
guys have been excited about outside of Switch? Last
Not
little
this year, not
thoughts about
really.
'em?
Oh, well, it wasn't announced. Wait, yeah, it was announced at Nintendo's Direct before it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe
Which
I forgot.
that does look good.
I'm so excited. Oh, my sister's also in here. Hello,
Witchbrook.
Lindsay. Also, yeah, so Witchbrook, I've been following this game, I think for 8 years
Oh.
now.
You played a beta, right? Or
Wow.
something?
I know. So they haven't had anything. What they
Oh, wow.
showed at Nintendo's Direct was the most footage. That was like the first actual like gameplay
Wow.
footage. The rest has just been like GIFs or GIFs, however you say them. It's just
Yeah.
been like that, like on their website of just like you can kind of see animations. This was the first
Right.
time you saw gameplay.
They made
Oh
Stardew
my
Valley.
gosh.
It looks
Well,
beautiful.
they
really cool.
produced it. Chucklefish did.
Oh,
I
Concern-
love Chucklefish.
Concerned Ape is who made Stardew Valley, and then like Chucklefish published it. But Chucklefish publishes a lot of those kind of games, like Starbound,
Eastward.
Wargrove, Eastward, so things like that. Yeah, that Peter. If any game I'm excited about, it is that. Like I am so
Cool.
stoked for that game.
I want to try that out.
Oh,
when it
it's
comes out.
it's gonna be so.
It
I mean, you
looks
guys
really
I
know.
never got to get
Literally,
on the Stardew
I got
Valley train.
500 hours in Stardew Valley. I'm still playing that game to this day, constantly. I'm so excited for Witchbrook. That's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah,
That
it looks
does look
kind of like
awesome.
a pixel Harry Potter. If I were to just give like a
Yeah,
little-
you go to like witching school, like a wizarding school, and it's also
Yeah.
kind of like Kiki's delivery service. Like it looks like you have like tasks to like deliver potions to people, and you fly on. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It
Right
looks
up your
so
alley.
good.
I'm-
Yeah,
I'm
it is
totally
so
kind
my
of
game.
excited.
It is one of those life simulators, and it's pixel art, and yeah, I'm stoked. That's mine. That's my game.
That's awesome.
What about you, Max?
Oh, it's a great question. Give me a second. Let me look at my list. It's kind
What's
of a
yours,
barren
Peter?
year.
I really want to try Split Fiction that just came out. I was playing
It's so
It
good.
Takes Two, and I did really like it. I played it with Day, and we both really enjoyed it. We got through the first boss, and I really love just the design of the game. It's a really solid puzzle game, and it's really just like relaxing, but it's not like too mind bending like some puzzle games are. It's kind of like right at that level of we need to solve this type of puzzle, and then there's like a fun little boss at the end, and then it has like a cute little storyline. And from what I'm seeing, Split Fiction is a fantasy-esque type game, and so
Fantasy sci-fi.
it makes me think of for some reason the Borderlands game that had the fantasy aspect to it.
I do
Totally
too.
unrelated type of game, but I wanted to get that game when it came out because I was like, oh, that's cool, like diving into a fantasy world that you're not really like, it's kind of like entering into a fantasy world, but they're coming from a different world. I guess that's kind of like what Split Fiction seems to be about.
Yeah, Split Fiction is great. I remembered. I'm excited for 2 Game Pass games this month that are releasing: South of Midnight and Expedition 33. I'm really excited to play those games.
Yeah, I looked at the South of Midnight. I'm very excited for. I'm playing Avowed right now on the Game Pass, which is fun. You got me to
Which looks
look at though Expedition 33. I was watching the trailer. Yeah, that looks good. The art looks a little funky, but
Yeah,
like in a
There's a
cool
lot of
way.
bloom.
Yeah, but
Whoa.
it looks very interesting.
This
That'll be fun to kind of like. see what that's like.
Yeah, and the voice cast is crazy. They got like Charlie Cox,
Yeah.
Daredevil, as the
Yep.
main character. It's like
Yeah.
holy
Yeah.
smoke! But yeah, it looks really fun. So yeah, excited to restart my Game Pass this month to play this.
Yeah. Well, I do got to
Wow.
cut this podcast. I gotta get to work at like 6:30, so I gotta start heading to
Yeah,
bed.
me too.
But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, for listening. This was our all things Switch 2 coverage. As always, we just appreciate everyone who comes and listens. Make sure to kind of check us out on all our podcast sites. I think we got it on Apple, Amazon, Spotify. You can watch us here live on YouTube. We do it every couple of months. We're doing pretty good. I mean, 27 episodes, ain't no joke for 3 people who work a bunch and
Yay.
have
Have
other lives. So, yeah, it's really fun to be able to do this and excited to see kind of what our next one's going to be about. But that said, talk to you all later.
See you.
Peace.